3, and it's fabulous to see just how much excitement this new Dallara 326 car, engineered by Tom's Engine 101 and Hankook, along with Cosworth of course, have given us such great entertainment. On the circuit here at Jarama, once again, all of these fabulous race circuit corners that are named after the greats of the sport, from Nuvolari to Fangio to Varzi to Le Mans to Farina to Pegaso, all the way to Ascari, Portago, the Bugatti S's, the Monza turns, and the recent hero for Spain, Maria del Velota. This circuit is as much of a history lesson as it is a fantastic race circuit that is part embedded into the Formula One history tapestry. Now we're getting ourselves ready for more great action in Euro Cup 3 in a two-way title fight. James Igozzi versus Keanu Alazzari. There's only been one other race winner so far this weekend, and that was Stefan Bostanjev, the Bulgarian, who triumphed in fantastic style in yesterday's sprint race. Keanu Alazzari comes into this one as the championship leader off the back of one of the most flamboyant race victories in recent FIDA Series history. His battle with Gianmarco Pradel was absolutely legendary yesterday, and now there's even more to come here in this third and final encounter of the race weekend. It's going to be fascinating to see what Keanu Alazzari can do for the high-tech team here today, particularly in the cooler weather conditions that we have on this Sunday of race activity compared to yesterday. I'm Jake Sanson. Down in pit lane is Alex Garcia. My goodness me, today is going to be an absolute cracker in this third and final race of the weekend, Alex, particularly with the boy wonder, Keanu Alazzari, taking his first pole position. He wants to win this title before we even get to Aragon, doesn't he?
100% Jake. I know that Keanu Alazzari said yesterday that he was here to have fun. Of course that applied more to the sprint race than anything else. He was quick this morning, he was quick yesterday, he's going to be quick now in this last race of the weekend. And I think it wouldn't be too much of a bet if I said he's most likely going to be quick in Motoland as well. Now, as for closing the title before then, of course that's difficult in terms of mathematics, but depending on how today's race goes, things could end up in a very comfortable position for the Emirati driver. But do not forget that a certain James Igozzi is also starting from P3 on the grid, and he will have to do something about it. He needs to regain some positions, a couple of them exactly to be precise, and try to get that third win of the season. Now, will he be able to do that? Yesterday wasn't too kind to the North American, but today's a new day, and new days give new opportunities.
So let's talk about this in terms of reality. The mathematics of it, there is a very slender, very slim chance that Keanu Alazzari could win the title today. The only way to get it done is if he wins and there are no points scored by either René Lammers, James Igozzi or Alex Powell, and that seems very unlikely from this race because that's three very strong drivers up in the top 5. We've got Lammers in second, Igozzi in third, and Powell in fourth. They're actually in their championship order, so it's very unlikely that we're going to see the championship sealed today. But with a 45-point lead, can you believe that? That's double the points that he currently has over René Lammers, who has 45. Keanu Alazzari has 90. So even if he extends the lead, he could pretty much go to Aragon with very little homework to do going into those 3 races. And it just shows you, we were talking about how he spoke to you yesterday, he's just here to have fun. When everything's going right, when the confidence is with you and the car feels fantastic, it's like you've got an edge that nobody can crack. It's like an unbreakable eggshell.
That's pretty much what we're seeing because, you know, Jake, sometimes we see champions and we say, well, he has the speed to be a champion. And sometimes you see a champion and you say, well, maybe he hasn't been the quickest guy, but he's been very consistent. Keanu Alazzari has both. He's been quick, he's been consistent, he's always been there, he's always been near the top of the podium or on the top of the podium step. So, you know, he has everything that he needs to not just become a champion, of course, but dominate the season. And it doesn't necessarily feel like he's dominated it. But when you look at what he's been doing, he's been always there, not really dramatic perhaps, except that last minute overtake yesterday, but other than that he's just been so incredibly efficient. And to me, an efficient driver who's quick just shows that he's on it. He's not needing to do heroics to get there, and that is very good sign for the rest of the year, and not just for the Spanish Winter Championship, because let's not forget that yes, the Spanish Winter Championship finishes in a couple of weeks, but after that we have the regular season, And this, in many respects, is a dress rehearsal for that. Drivers are preparing things for what's coming next. Because for as much as they all want to win, what they really want to win is what comes after it. Because that's the real, let's say, Euro Cup 3 season, and that's the one that most people are going to remember. But I also have to be honest, and with races like yesterday, overtakes like yesterday, and domination like we've seen so far, there's a point to be made about remembering the Spanish Winter Championship as well, don't you think?
Absolutely. That battle between Keanu Alizari and Gianmarco Pradel in race 1 has already gone viral and is already going around the social media channels. Everyone really appreciative, not just of Alizari, but of course of Gianmarco Pradel. How you race your opponent is actually a very important indicative of the kind of racing driver you are. If you're the kind of person who will just close the door and lead to the accident or push people around, you get a reputation. If you're willing to race the other driver hard but fair and leave that room, leave that gap, and make sure that you've both got enough to make the corner, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about vintage motor racing. It's that attitude that the drivers had when they were battling each other. We got a fantastic show and everybody won out. Not just the drivers in the battle, but the whole sport looked better for it. And it's only to be encouraged.
Exactly, and look, I had the chance to talk to Gianmarco yesterday, just after the podium, which is perhaps the moment he could have been more dejected. And I talked about this with him, and I said, look, I thought that was amazing, not just from Keanu, of course, but from you, because you managed to fight hard but fair. And he said, look, Keanu was just so quick. He was great. He did what he had to do. I tried my best. Of course, I would have liked to win, but that's what motorsport, that's what racing is about. And I thought that was very nice for him to say at that point, which maybe he could have been a little bit sad, which of course he was, but he was happy to have been part of it. He was happy to have that second place in that first race of the weekend. And I think we're all winners for it, as you were saying.
That's the thing. If you get to be part of a race that's memorable and will stick in the minds of many people for many weeks, then you're part of something quite special. It's not just about winning races, but it's about how you conduct yourself in those battles. Now, top 4 of the starting grid. Alex, how about this for a showdown? Because the last race of the weekend has the 4 title contenders, and they're all still in the mix. Alizari may have a 45-point lead, double the tally of René Lammers, but there's just a handful of points between Lammers, Egozzi and Powell. Whoever beats the others in this battle essentially gets the role-playing position of going after it for the rest of the contenders. James Egozzi there just on the feed, just pointing to his eyes there. He's got the eyes of the tiger. He wants to get himself back into that second place and put the balance into restored position. Lammers has been strong and consistent. Alex Powell has been unfortunate, but very, very quick. And I love to see on the Campos halo on the neck brace, sorry, on the far side of the course, the neck supports, they're carrying the stickers for Will McIntyre, the very much beloved and very, very cherished British racing driver who is sadly going through chemotherapy at the moment for his current cancer diagnosis. We all wish him all the very best for that and hope that he is able to return to the racetrack very soon. You've got 4 very different driving styles here with these 4 drivers. You've got fighters, you've got the calculated, you've got the smooth, and you've got the tactical. It could be a fascinating race with the best 4 drivers of the season so far, right up there in the best 4 positions.
It's just fantastic, Jake. The 4 of them have such different driving styles and different approaches to motorsport, to motor racing, but I think they have one element in common, which is they are all spicy. So I know that we have a good race in our hands. If there's not too much presence of safety cars, which there could be, we've seen it throughout the weekend, but if we stay clear of that, there's going to be fantastic fights, because there can be overtakes. Yes, they're hard, but they can be done, especially Sector 1, and these guys are probably amongst the best here in Euro Cup 3. So expect it, expect some risks, expect some successes, expect some failures as well, but 100% expect some good fun.
It always has been so far this season. The Dallara 326 has definitely guaranteed that. Alex, gracias mi amigo. Let's get Betty back into the battle for racing. It's going to be a good one. So with the cars in position, ready for another exciting duel out on the course. It will be a very difficult test between the top 4 drivers in the grid and the championship standings. Formation lap. Keanu Alizari, the man in pink, in the Alpine Junior Academy colours, for the High-Tech Grand Prix team. Leads them away from René Lammers, son of the great Le Mans 24 Hours winner and Grand Prix driver Jan Lammers, who also drove the Volvo Estate in the British Touring Car Championship all the way back in 1994. James Zigotzi and Alex Powell, the two boys from Miami, on the second row of the starting grid. Then the Brazilian Heiter de Lanhol, along with his teammate Rafael Parade. Great to see them in that position on the third row of the grid. Santino Panetta and Christopher Elfagali. And then Stefan Bostanjev, race 2 winner yesterday in the sprint. And 10th position on the grid for Ian Eichmans for MP. A tougher race ahead for him. Then Kaspar Stuka, Filippo Fiorentino of Brazil, Gino Trappa of Argentina, and Gianmarco Pradel, the Australian, who goes from pole position yesterday to 14th on the grid today. That's how competitive this championship is. Enzo Tarvanichkul, the boy from Thailand, 15th on the grid for Red Bull Junior. Then Chuyan Pu, the Chinese ace, in front of Yanis Steven Haydens of Belgium. Then the Romanian Luca Vizaranu and Alsu Felmaneto, who will be rather sad that he's missing the Porsche Carrera Cup Brazil season opener at Interlagos this weekend, where his father is already mixing it with his championship opposition, the likes of Marcel Muller and Miguel Paludo. And then Bart Harrison and Patrick Hosenroder, along with Bianca Bustamante, 22nd on the grid. Stylianos Kolovos, Thomas Straven having an absolute nightmare of a weekend by his standards. And then Benjamin Beckley, Renzo Barboy, Gianni Giovanelli and Lorenzo Campos for Double R, all the way at the back of the grid. Very unfortunate indeed for the Angolan. So the drivers weave from side to side to generate that last bit of temperature into the brakes and tyres, and then they will blast away. This Dallara 326 really has been an early victory for this new design of car, and everybody at Dallara, Toms, Cosworth, Engine 101, and of course the guys at Hankook supporting them with the tyres, have created a bit of a monster, and we love it. What a fantastic race car this has already turned out to be in the first 5 E3 Spanish Winter Championship encounters. This will be the 6th, and half an hour of racing around the Jarama circuit, with the best 4 drivers in the grid in terms of the points scored thus far this year, in the best 4 positions in their championship standings order. Keanu Elazari, René Lammers, James Zigotzi and Alex Powell. The boys from Miami chasing after the men from Dubai and the Netherlands. Watch out for Heiter de Lanhol after his rookie win yesterday. The Brazilian in a very strong position in P5, gaining confidence, speed and stature all the time, as too is his below teammate Rafael Parade. All 3 belows up at the sharp end of the team, now in the top 6. So the final cars making their way to their positions. We'll get the green flag at the back of the field, and then it's time for some fun as far as Keanu Elazari is concerned from pole position. But the next half hour is not just going to be fun for him, it's going to be demanding, it's going to be tough, it's going to be tenuous, and it's definitely going to be exhilarating. We get ourselves ready for the 3rd and final E3 race of the Spanish Winter Championship here at Jarama on the Circuito de Madrid. The last couple of cars in position. And now we get the green flag at the back of the field. It's time for the competitors to go blasting around this fantastic history lesson of a race circuit. Let's race one more time at Jarama. And it's a great start at the front from all 4 of the top 4 men in the field. 1 or 2 stallers, but it's going to be wheel to wheel as René Lammers tries to beat Elazari to the corner. He locks up, he drifts wide, and he goes into the gravel. Keanu Elazari bins it into the gravel at turn 1 as René Lammers hoodwinks him. Elazari just overcooks it, manages to recover, but it's Lammers, Igotzi, and Powell who get a free birthday present early as they battle their way around the course now, with their main championship opponent looking unlikely to score a single point. So off we go, up through Pegaso, and it's Lammers who leads the way from Igotzi and Powell. De Lanhol, P4 from Perard, Elfagali, Panetta, Stuka, Eichmans, Pradel, Tarvanichkul and Fiorentino, with Elazari all the way down to the back of the field in 26th. Well, that's a big disaster for him, but he's got a 45-point lead in the championship, so it'll just be a slight headache rather than a disaster for Keanu Elazari. He certainly doesn't have to panic too much about the outcome of that mistake. He's not going to lose anything in terms of championship lead heading to Aragon. The leader can only score 25 points for the win in this one and the bonus point for fastest lap, so that means that he'll only lose 26 points of his 45-point lead heading to Aragon. But for Lammers, Egozzi and Powell, this is Christmas. This is their chance to battle for a race victory with Al-Azhari at the back. Delanyol P4, and there's a great battle cooking up already between Berard and El Faghali. Chris El Faghali trying to get the switcheroo out of Fangio up towards Vartzi, and they are having a fantastic battle up towards Le Mans, breaking for the hairpin. Out through the mid part of the corner, you've got to get a little bit choppy in terms of your radiuses if you want to get a fast run through. And already the battle is urging on as well from Santino Panetta. Panetta wants to work his way further forward. He's going to get a fantastic move around the outside of Pegaso on El Faghali. Where did that come from? Santino Panetta pulls an impossible move out of his sleeve like he's pulled a rabbit out of a hat. Absolutely incredible from Panetta. On only the second lap of the race as well. And that was absolute audacity from Santino Panetta. So they drop down out of the Bugatti S's. There's a lot of great racecraft still to come from the drivers behind. Chris El Faghali still recovering from what happened. Stuttgart is 8th, Eichmanns is 9th, and into the points comes Enzo Tarmanichkul, the Red Bull Junior for MP, looking to get himself further up the order. For Campos, my apologies, it's Ian Eichmanns in front of him who's for MP. But the battles are not over yet between Stuttgart and El Faghali, I think it is, as they come through. It's going to be very close. Oh, this is Stuttgart and Eichmanns dueling away. Down to the inside line. And once again, very close quarter stuff as Panetta now tries to take on Rafael Berard. Panetta is having an absolute rout here. He has a look at Berard into Vartzi. He's trying to show that Chiara Al-Azhari isn't the only one who can pull off a quick show with Gianmarco Pradel. Yellow flags at turn 1. Somebody's gone off in the first corner. And up the inside, Panetta has to defend big time, and that's going to give El Faghali a gift of a move as he gets in front of Rafael Berard. So Panetta gets through, El Faghali gets through at the expense of Berard. El Faghali kicks up some dust on the top of the crest of Pegaso, and we go to safety car. Santino Panetta, what did you have for breakfast this morning? I want a crate of it. Fantastic work from the Argentine so far, up into P5. An amazing start, and it looks to me as though it's Eichmanns who's gone at the first corner, so Ian Eichmanns is in the gravel trap at turn 1, I believe. Very unfortunate then for the Belgian. We're not entirely sure whether he's gone off on his own or whether he had some help, but certainly it is Ian Eichmanns in the gravel. But Santino Panetta, wow, some amazing racecraft to start things off. Isn't it amazing? You wait years for a decent Argentine talent, and as soon as Franco Colapinto gets into Formula 1, they all come along to join him. Well, Ian Eichmanns has gone a long way into the gravel. I wonder if that's brake failure, because he's gone a long way in, and to be fair, that's a straight line manoeuvre. So we're going to need to have another look at it. Look how far into the gravel he's gone. I wonder if he's just had an issue there, or under braking. Maybe he's put a wheel on the grass and it's just skated him off the road. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, that's gone a long way in. We didn't see what caused it, but we certainly see what finished it. You've got to feel for Ian Eichmanns. That's a messy end to his weekend. But of course, he is one of the many rookies in this field, getting to know this car. He's only got 1 year of car racing behind him, of course, in the M4 Spanish Championship. But some really impressive racing at the front end of this field now. Lammers, Egozzi and Powell still absolutely together. Then Delanyol, then Santino Panetta. Take a bow, mi amigo. What a fantastic run that is. Up into P5 thus far. El Faghali P6, he's done well. The Lebanese driver to go wheel to wheel with Rafael Berard, who got caught out there a little bit. Enzo Tarmanichkul is up to 8th as a result of Eichmanns going off the road. Pradel back into the points in 9th place. And we've got 2 Argentine high-techs in the top 10 because Gino Trapper has got himself back into the mix as well. P11 for the Brazilian Fiorentino. Then Bart Harrison, who's still knocking on the door of points. Chuyan Pu of China, Hosen Roda of Australia. And of course, unlike everybody else who'll be getting themselves ready for Aragon, he's going to be getting himself ready for a flight back home to Oz. He'll be touching down in Melbourne, ready for his Formula 3 debut next week. Luca Vizaronu, P15 from Thomas Strauben, Alcif Felmanetto, Yanis Steven Adens, Stefan Bostangiev in 19th, and Chiara Al-Azhari in 20th. How about that? The 2 race winners this weekend are in 19th and 20th. Well, that's Euro Cup 3. Always keeps you guessing, doesn't it? Always keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's all you need of it. So Lammers will lead under safety car, and he's looking for his first Euro Cup 3 win. But then Igotzi is looking for win number 3 this season anyway. And Alex Powell is looking for win number 1. So is this boy though, Heiter Delaniol, quite fancies win number 1 as well. Santino Panetta, if he's got that kind of pace on the restart, well, all bets are off. So still, we battle behind the safety car. They will get themselves prepared again. And it looks like it's going to be a relatively straightforward rescue job, because I think Ian Eichmans is not that hard to recover in his current position. So it looks to me as though he's just going to have an annoying walk back to the pit lane, as it were. But Lammers, Igotzi and Powell from Delaniol and Panetta. Then Chris Fagali, Rafael Berard, Enzo Tarmanichkul, Gianmarco Pradel and Gino Trappa. Then Fiorentino, Harrison, Chu and Hosenroder from Vizaronu, Stroven, Feldman, Steven Aidens, Boston Jevan Alazari. Safety car in this lap. I didn't think it was going to take too long. And so now it's battle royale between Lammers, Igotzi and Powell, the 3 men who are tasked with trying to cut Keanu Alazari's lead down as much as possible. If any one of them takes the win, then it makes Aragon that little bit more exciting. Lammers lets the safety car pull away, so they will move further ahead. Lammers, Igotzi and Powell with a great chance to close up in the title race here. If all 3 of them make the podium, then we've definitely got a better showdown in Aragon, as Lammers goes for it. Nicely done. He really caught Igotzi and Powell out there. He thought he was going to be there for a long time. He wasn't. And so as René Lammers blasts out of Maria del Velota and down the main straight, it's green, 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 green once again here at Jarama. And Igotzi's going to have his work cut out here, because Powell is going to try and beat him to the apex. He's already alongside at Nuvolari, into Fangio, and a big dive from Panetta. Panetta into 4th position. He's absolutely on it. Santino Panetta now in P4 past Delaniol, as Powell really goes for it here on Igotzi. Watch out, boys. Panetta's on your 6. This is going to be an amazing charge. If Santino Panetta can get onto the podium, well, that really is going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Up over the top of the crest of Picasso. Delaniol hasn't given up on the Argentine. And this is a great restart from Lammers. He really has left Igotzi and Powell guessing. Oh, a bit of a run there from Pradel and Trapper. I think they ended up having a little bit of contact, and there's a big lockup from Gianmarco Pradel. I wonder if he's got damage at the rear of his car. So big racing needed to go at it. Hammer and tongs as Tarmanichkul fancies his chances on Rafael Berard down into the Bugatti S's. He had to bail out of it. But again, Tarmanichkul is up for the scrap as they work their way through. There's Bart Harrison. He's dueling away with Chu, Hosenroder and Vizaronu. And Alazari is trying to work his way forward further up. Now he's up to 18th. So he's still taking it 1 car at a time, just stepping up the moves. And through Maria del Velota come the leaders once again, as Powell is all over Igotzi like a hot potato at a birthday party, really rocking it on down the straight, side by side, up to Nuvolari. Can Powell get a wheel in front? Yes, he can. He's got to make Igotzi make the move, and Powell is through. Panetta having to defend from Delaniol in the same breath, and the Argentine sticks it, and Delaniol tries to hold it round the outside into Varncy. They're going to go side by side again, and Delaniol has to bail out. Panetta goes clean off the road over the gravel, and he's going to come back on the road, and he tags the side of El Fagali's car. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Santino Panetta. Disaster. It was going so well, and the high-tech skates off the road. I wonder if there was the slightest tap. There was from Heiter Delaniol. Look at Panetta. He's all over the shop. No, wait, that's Trapper. So both the high-techs are sliding around all over the place, and we've gone safety car. No surprise. Oh, my word. Euro Cup 3 really does get flamboyant at the best of times, doesn't it? Well, there was flotsam and jetsam all over the shop on that lap. Safety car board is out. Safety car returns to the circuit. What has happened to Santino Panetta? Well, he's tumbling down the order. We're going to see a replay of what happened, and we're going to see the slightest bit of contact. There it is, Panetta just tumbling down the road. That's between Delagnol and Trapper, I believe. No, wait, that's Pradell and Trapper. They went side by side. Here's the move. Look, the tiniest little bit of a love tap on the rear tyre of Panetta. That's enough to puncture it. Poor Panetta, poor Delagnol. Delagnol's got damage to the front wing, so he's a victim of that as well. He stayed out because he's in P4. Safety car has picked them all up. I believe Panetta has crawled to a standstill. Car number 20 in the gravel bed at turn 1 as well, actually. So, multiple incidents there. I think we were going to go safety car anyway because Benjamin Beckley went off at turn 1. Kasper Stucker appears to be out of the race as well. And Santino Panetta has recovered, but he's made it back to the pits, all the way back in P25. So just the slightest rub of the wing end plate on Panetta's rear tyre, that was enough to put him out of the lead battle. And you've got to feel for Panetta. He was putting on such a great race, worthy of Gilles Villeneuve, who triumphed here at Jarama in 1981. And it was such a wonderful race until then. Have we got a new Gilles Villeneuve? We've certainly got one in Eurocup 3, haven't we? Santino Panetta absolutely pushing it to the ragged edge and giving us plenty of entertainment. But unfortunately, he scores no points for his efforts. What a shame for Santino Panetta. We were all on the edge of our seats for him on that one. But I think Alpha Gali got caught out in that as well. That promoted Perard up into P5. So Alpha Gali recovered, but he ran wide trying not to get hit, essentially, by the wayward Panetta, who couldn't slow down the car once he was off on the grass and the gravel. And that's the thing, when you've gone flat out through Vartsy and go off the road, you can't really stop the car. You've just got to let it sail to the scene of the incident. And I'm fairly sure that was the same bit of racetrack where Jackie Ickx had his horrific fire in the early 70s in Formula One that's become one of the most photographed Formula One fires of the 1970s. Everybody got out of that one, of course, relatively unscathed, but it left quite a vintage hallmark for the photographers of Formula One folklore. So there is Benjamin Beckley's car. So we would have got the safety car anyway, even if things had gone cleaner between Panetta and Delagnol. Delagnol has had to come into the pits, unfortunately, to change that front wing, so he doesn't get to keep his top 5 position either. That's a bitter disappointment for Heiter Delagnol. He was having a great race there as well. So we've got Lammers leading, Powell second, Igozzi third, Perard is now fourth in front of Alpha Gali and Tarva Nitschgul, then Gianmarco Pradell, Filippo Fiorentino, Gino Trapper, and in 10th position, looking good for his first championship point, is Bart Harrison. Then it's Chuyan Pu of China from the Australian Patrick Hosenroder, then Thomas Straven of Belgium, then Luca Vizarona of Romania, ahead of Keanu Al-Azari. So Al-Azari's up to 15th. So there is Delagnol getting a new front wing, but it's academic. As far as he's concerned, it's a missed opportunity in the same way as it was for Santino Panetta. He gets out onto the circuit again, and the man who's going to be directly in front of him when this race restarts is, guess who? Yup, Santino Panetta. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's what they both get for their great battle out on the circuit. They get to reunite at the tail end of the field. So we now have just 25 drivers circulating, I do believe, on the lead lap. There were 26 drivers running in total because Kasper Stucker is a lap down. And then we have the 2 retirements from earlier on, Ian Eichmans and Benjamin Beckley, both off at turn 1. Safety car in this lap. We're going to get back in with it. Time to crack on with this shindig, I think, as René Lammers will lead Alex Powell in second place and James Igozzi in third. Can Powell beat Lammers to the victory dais? And can Keanu Al-Azari in 15th place? There he is, the man in pink. Can he make it to the points? He's only 5 positions away from it. Lammers on the restart. Powell is ready for him. Here he goes. Powell and Igozzi are going to give chase. So too is Rafael Perard for Palou. And as we go down the crest, it's green, 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 green once again here at Jarama. And Powell is on the warpath. He's going after Lammers. He's going to kick out left as they go side by side to Nuvolari. Then up to Fangio. Powell's going to take the lead. He's got it. Alex Powell leads at Jarama. Right round the outside comes Perard. Perard's got the move on Igozzi. and he's already trying to take on Lammers, as Tarpanichkal's got a run here on Elfagali. Igotzi down to P4, Perard into the podium. Igotzi goes right round the outside of Rafael Perard at Le Mans. Don't tell me he's going to stick that. He is! James Igotzi back into third position. Brilliant. Yellow flags at turn 1 again. Is it going to be safety car once more? Certainly for Alex Powell. It's the lead of the race at the perfect time. Lammers second, Igotzi third from Perard, Elfagali and Tarpanichkal, and it is the safety car. Wow. Well, we've said many, many times before, safety cars breed safety cars, and I'm afraid it's happening again. But I tell you what, every time we do get a safety car, we get some amazing battles into turn 1, and now it's the turn of Alex Powell. He is leading. So Al-Azhari led for a few hundred metres, and who is it that's gone straight off at turn 1 this time? That looks to me like Lorenzo Campos. So let's see what happened to Perard and Igotzi. Perard got the jump initially. Wait for it. Al-Azhari's going to have a bit of a moment, and there goes Lorenzo Campos. Straight to the scene of the retirement. Oof. The wing is buried in the gravel. Lorenzo Campos is going nowhere. So, the boy from Miami, Alex Powell, leads the way on course for his first win in Euro Cup 3, if he can hold it together for the next 15 minutes or so. You say, hang on, there's 12 minutes on the clock, Jay. Yes, I know that, but it's time plus 1 lap. The safety car picks up Alex Powell. And now the safety car procedure is under investigation. That's the previous safety car period, not this one. So, very difficult situation. Kenny Webber has been doing his homework as well. He points out that Jarama is also the scene at Vartsy Corner, where very similar to Delaniol and Panetta, Jacques Lafitte actually got taken out by the lapped machine of Emilio De Villota, who of course is the father of the driver who the final corner of the circuit now is named after, Maria De Villota. And as a result, Paul Lafitte crashed heavily into Carlos Reutemann. And where is Reutemann from? Argentina. You couldn't script this. So Alex Powell, René Lammers and James Igotzi at the front end of the field. Thanks for that. Nice bit of banter there from Kenny Webber. Keep those fantastic motorsport stats incoming. That's what I live for. You can call it nerdy if you like. I call it fabulous. Right, take a look at this now, because we've got Powell, Lammers and Igotzi, 1, 2 and 3. Perard is 4th. Elfagali is 5th ahead of Tarpanichkal. Then Fiorentino, Trapper, Pradell and Harrison in the points. Who's next? Keanu Al-Azhari. He is P11. On the restart, he was P15. He got ahead of 4 cars in 4 corners before we went to safety car proceedings again. Look back. There is the Alpine in pink of the high-tech Grand Prix car of Keanu Al-Azhari. Absolutely phenomenal. He is having so much fun. Even though he messed up at the first corner, he'll take that on the chin. He said, okay, I've got a 45-point lead in the championship. I don't need to panic. I'm just going to get back on with this now. I'll get back on the track. The car isn't damaged. I've got a little bit of dented pride, okay, if you want. But I'm going to get back on with this, and I'll get back up to speed. And here he is in 11th position, 1 place away from scoring points after all. That is the kind of form that Keanu Al-Azhari is really in. Absolutely incredible. So the safety car procedure will be investigated after the session. Possible overtaking. That's why the procedure is under investigation. We have no identity of driver yet, but it's certain that that investigation could lead to a penalty of sorts. So now we've got Powell leading the way from Lammers and Igotzi. Perard in 4th position, briefly in 3rd at the start. But the way that James Igotzi fought back around the outside at Le Mans hairpin, well, that's amazing from James Igotzi. Great to see that he's got such flair in defence. Safety car in this lap. Boy, oh boy, are these guys getting a lot of practice at removing cars quickly. Fair play to the Orange Army. They've done it again. There's a car at the gravel at turn 1, and they're already immobilised. They're going to get as quick as the IndyCar guys before long. This is a great training day for them, isn't it? But there is Gino Trapper, one of the men who stands between Keanu Al-Azari and scoring points after going off at turn 1 on the first lap. But Alex Powell, the man who was raised in Trinidad and Tobago, born in Miami, Florida, the cousin of the Jamaican 100-meter sprinter Asafa Powell, is now ready to show us what he's made of in Euro Cup 3. On this restart, he could really change his stars. He's going to leave it late as he's still weaving through Maria de Velota. Now he's going to go for it. Has he left it late, or has he done it just right? He's going to try and break the toe of Lammers as we go green, 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 green once again here at Jarama. Good start from Powell. Lammers and Agotzi going to keep this tight up towards Nuvolari and into Fangio. The people on the pit wall keeping an eye on things. Lock up, turn in, keep it nice and tidy. There could be some Flotsam and Jetsam out of the hairpin. We just about get away with that. Tarvanichkol's already putting the pressure on Alfagali. Perard is looking good for things as we move our way further forward. It's a big run deep there from Perard. Alfagali keeping a tight knit on things as Tarvanichkol tries to go the long way round at Farina. And then back up through Pegaso. Al-Azari is trying to pick his move to get past Pradell, who's down to 10th position. Al-Azari on the outside of Pegaso and into the points. Keanu Al-Azari has made it into the top 10. Meanwhile, Perard is really struggling to keep back Alfagali and Tarvanichkol. Tarvanichkol will get his run on the inside of the Lebanese, and so they're going to go wheel to wheel down to the Bugatti S's. So down we go to the braking zone for the hairpin. Alfagali holds on from Tarvanichkol. Here comes Fiorentino as well, the Brazilian, looking good for an opportunity. Bart Harrison in the points, so is Trapper, so is Keanu Al-Azari now. Al-Azari is there in P10. And now he's up the inside of Keanu. Sorry, that is Tarvanichkol battling away, I believe, to try and keep his position. They're side by side further back between Harrison and Trapper. And Al-Azari's making his bid to get past Gino Trapper now down the straight. As Powell leads Lammers and Agotzi. Big dog! Oh, problems there as Alfagali goes straight into the back of Perard. Alfagali tried to switch directions and he just misjudged it. Hit the rear wheel of Rafael Perard and skates off into the first corner. Gravel trap again as now Harrison's going wheel to wheel with Trapper. He nearly ends up going off into the gravel himself. And that promotes everybody up another place. My goodness me, the drama is coming by the bucketful as Al-Azari now tries to go right round the outside of Bart Harrison. He quickly realises there's no room at the end and it's safety car. That is now a 4th safety car period in quick succession. Oh my goodness. That was a scary moment though for Chris Alfagali. I have a feeling we're going to see that one again. As Alfagali tried to make his bid on Rafael Perard, he just changed direction very quickly indeed from the left side to the right side. Felt he had a line on the inside at Fangio. Here it is again. We're going to see it from the overhead. So here's the move. He goes left. Perard switches, goes right. Bang! He hits the rear wheel. Nothing he can do to stop the car in time. So poor Chris Alfagali. Nothing he can do about that one at all. Just tried too audacious a move there to make the move. And Chris Alfagali, unfortunately, just getting that slightly wrong as he tried to make his bid there on the Frenchman. And so the Drivex driver is out. 5 minutes to go. Safety car again. Boy, has Jarama cooked us up some sizzling action. We've still got 5 minutes left. Goodness me, there's been more drama than a Shakespeare sonnet. Out through the hairpin goes the safety car, leading the field around. Powell, Lammers, Agotzi, and somehow Rafael Perard is still going in 4th place. How is that car not a rolling wreck after the impact from Alfagali? Well, we need to have a proper look at Rafael Perard's below, and we'll see if that car is still functioning as it should be. Driver is okay, we are told by the safety car and the race control that Chris Alfagali is okay. So it's definitely going to be a very tricky one on the restart now for Alex Powell, because he came very close indeed to losing the ground to René Lammers. But every time there is a battle on the track, there is a safety car a few seconds later. Chris Alfagali, the adrenaline still pumping for the Lebanese driver, and he'll be hopping mad at having lost that opportunity to get in the top 5 and finish strong. So, very difficult situation Now, Tiago dos Santos has actually made a very interesting point on YouTube. He says, they're calling the safety car way too early. Let them race for 30 extra seconds, because at that point they're a minute away from Chris Alfagali's car. I totally understand where you're coming from, Tiago. I totally get your point of view. But what you have to take into consideration is when there's a car off the road on a live circuit at that point, you're not just risking the other drivers. It's not just them who are at risk. It's the safety team around the circuit. It's the spectators. You don't know what the ramifications of the accident are. Just because you've seen something from one particular camera angle, it doesn't take the full context into the story. And the race control only has what they can see on their cameras around the circuit from the various angles and the television pictures. Now, if they've got 1% of doubt, just 1% of doubt, you do not take the risk. It is that simple. We've got more than just race cars around the circuit. We've got safety teams. These men and women want to go home. They are volunteers. There is a safety implication. And if there's 1% of doubt, you throw the safety car. Doesn't matter how much racing there is still to go. Doesn't matter how many minutes are left. These are teenagers on the whole. There is a safeguarding responsibility. That's got to be the precedent. So yes, we don't get as much racing in as we would like, but everybody goes home safe. And that's the only thing that matters. I totally get where you're coming from, Tiago. Totally understand, and as a racing fan myself, I get you. I'm on your side. But the safety precedent has to go ahead of everybody else. Very valid point, though. Totally get where you're coming from. Alex Powell trying to keep that temperature up in the brakes and tyres, because every time they have a safety car period, there is a good chance that we're going to cool down the tyres and brakes to a rather difficult temperature, and all of that heating them up and cooling them down and heating them up and cooling them down and heating them up and cooling them down makes the car very difficult to get the handle of on that first lap back. And that's why we've had so much badinage on these restarts. But we are going to go safety car in this lap immediately with a minute and a half to go. Now, have we got enough time for 2 flying laps? I think it is only going to be 2 flying laps. So that'll be really interesting to see how this final 2 laps go. So Alex Powell backs up the pack. We're going to cross the line with a few seconds left. That means we'll get 2 laps left of racing. 2 laps for Chiara Malazari to put some more points on the board. And Alex Powell to try and hold off René Lammers and James Zagotzi to ensure he's going to put 25. I thought that was going to be the start then from Alex Powell. He's waiting. He really is making them wait. He's gone for it through Maria Del Vallota, and this could be a beautiful restart for Alex Powell. So probably for the last time here at Jarama, it's green, 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 green. Off we go. Igotzi's got a good run on Lammers, and Perard's got a good run on both of them. He might actually get past them both into the first corner. He has to bail out of the move in the end as Tarvanichkul goes for it on the inside of Fiorentino. Filippo Fiorentino trying to fight his corner, and Enzo Tarvanichkul's going to hold this to keep 5th position. Fiorentino tries to hold it round the far side. Tarvanichkul's still there at Le Mans. He's going to go the long way round because that's where Fiorentino's going to send him. And Harrison makes the mistake. Alazari's got through to the inside line, and he's now going to have Gino Trapper to duel with on the exit of Farina. There's still enough space to play with. Big moment from Fiorentino as Alazari and Trapper have to take avoiding action. Harrison manages to pick up the pieces there as well. Big error from Filippo Fiorentino. So down to the hairpin. Time has run out. So Alex Powell is just racing back to the finish line. And now they will get to start the last lap the next time through. But you can see the urgency. You can really sense that there is a desperate determination from the drivers to move their way further up. Trapper, P6 now. Alazari, P7 now. Harrison is 8th, Hosenroder is 9th, and Fiorentino is down to 10th. Alazari's got some damage. Look at that on the front nose. There's a big chunk of his nose missing. But still, he ploughs on. He knows that he's only got 1 more lap to do as we go across the line and up to Nuvolari. Alex Powell is just a few seconds now away from his first victory, unless René Lammers can do something about it. Out of Nuvolari, into Fangio. Igotzi 3rd, Perard 4th, then Tarvanichkul, Trapper, Alazari, Harrison, Hosenroder and Fiorentino in the points. Pradel 11th, then Straven, Steven Adens, Bostenjev, Chu, Felbenetto, Panetta, Barboy, Bustamante and Delagnol. Lammers is doing everything he can to chase down Alex Powell, but the American has timed every single move he's made in this race to absolute perfection. He knew exactly when Lammers was going to be vulnerable. He knew exactly how to make his tyres work. Don't forget, he was at the back of this trio. He was behind Lammers and Agozzi initially, P4 on the grid, but he was the one who rolled his sleeves up, dug deep and fought. And as they go out of Portago down to the Bugatti S's, it's going to be the man from Miami who's finally going to get some good fortune. He's had some near misses already in these first few weeks of the season, out in the Middle East and now here in the Spanish Winter Championship. But in the 6th race of the E3, one of the most exciting and memorable races in single-seaters I've seen for a long, long time, it's finally going to be a lucky charm day for Alex Powell out of Maria de Vallota, and it is the Jamaican sensation, the American, the boy from Miami, Alex Powell wins here at Jarama. Fantastic drive from Alex Powell. That is exactly the tonic he needed going into the 2026 season. What a stormer of a drive. Fabulous, fabulous work from Alex Powell. Great race victory. And that is a sigh of relief at Campos. They bounce back in style. René Lammers is second and James Agozzi is third. Chiara Malasari has to settle for P7 in that one, but it could have been so much worse. From pole position, off at the first corner, down to P26, and somehow he made it all the way back to 7th. What a comeback from Chiara Malasari. But Alex Powell doing a fantastic job there to hold off René Lammers, as Kenny Webber rightly says, channeling his inner Gilles Villeneuve. Very similar to the way he held off Jacques Lafitte and the rest at the Grand Prix here 45 years ago. Absolutely fantastic. James Agozzi keeps his championship hopes alive though in 3rd place. But with that victory, I do believe Alex Powell has just moved into 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship from what was 4th. He was 4 points behind Lammers. He now outscores him by 7. So Alex Powell is now going to be on 66 points, with Chiara Malasari now on 96 points. So the lead has been cut from 45 to, incredibly, just 30. What a season finale we're going to have at Aragon in Spain in 2 weeks' time. Boy, oh boy, was that racing. Proper racing. I love this Dallara 326. It is a proper, beefy, meaty racing car. And these drivers really are getting the benefit of it. And it's wonderful to see Alex Powell finally shaking off some of the jinx that he's been carrying all season long. He finally gets to enjoy it. Look, he's really taking his time about this slowing down lap. Too right, Alex. Soak it up. Enjoy it. After some very near misses in the last few weeks, after some miserable races where he basically had to sit in formation and not make any moves at all. Well, now Alex Powell is making his way down pit lane quite slowly, even for Alex Powell, I have to say. Don't tell me the car's conked out on the way down the pit lane. That would be an amazing bit of drama to finish us off with. The rest of the contenders are making their way down pit lane. And for the contenders, Lammers, Agozzi and our race winner Alex Powell, they have definitely taken a meaty chunk out of the title advantage Chiara Malasari had. Malasari still scores points. He comes back from 26th at one stage all the way back to P7. That's an amazing comeback from Chiara Malasari. But we're looking down pit lane. Where is Alex Powell? Here he is. Took his time about it. He wanted to enjoy the moment. But the man who was raised in Trinidad and Tobago, born in Miami in Florida, enjoying himself. His cousin, Asafa Powell, the 100-meter gold medalist in many different competitions, will be so proud of his cousin as Alex Powell mounts the Campos car, and that is a fabulous, fabulous victory. The man who was robbed of a chance to be part of the Mercedes Junior team again in 2026. He's had a very miserable time of it these weeks, rebuilding and regrouping and gathering it all up again. But Alex Powell still showing us what he's made of. Every other Formula One team on the grid, listen up. You need to snatch this boy up before somebody else does. Mercedes rejection could be salvation and Valhalla for another F1 team who wants a boy wonder. Alex Powell, definite superstardom in the making. So, absolutely fantastic performance from Alex Powell, and I have to say, that was stunning timing all the way. Really, really good to see how he executed every single move out of every single radius and apex there. Fabulous, fabulous driving work from Alex Powell in front of his rivals. There he is, very relieved, I'm sure. I've never seen him look so exhausted after a race, I have to say. But good to see just how much hard work he put in there. To the scales, make sure everything's above board. I'm sure it is, and it is. Alex Powell, victorious at Jarama. And that could be the win that sets him on the warpath of many a Formula One junior program. If you're Cadillac, or if you're Haas, you need to get this boy on your books. You want an American superstar driving for you in years to come in Formula One? Sign him up quick. Alex Garcia is with the other Alex, Mr. Powell.
It is the story of Alex today. Pleased to meet you, Alex. I'm Alex. Congratulations, that was amazing. Luck wasn't on your side at the beginning of the season, but today everything's compensated, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I made a mistake this morning in qualifying. I didn't maximize. I was quite nervous before the race, but it all came together. So, yeah, I can only say a big thank you to all of Campos. You know, we worked so hard to get to this point. Also, over the off-season, I worked very hard. No one except my parents know what I went through. So, yeah, to be back on top, it's a great feeling, and it's only the beginning.
In many senses, this is what it should probably have been from the start in Portugal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, ideally, but it's always better when there's a lot of hard work before the victory comes. So, yeah, really happy, very happy. I'm really happy for the guys. They worked super hard. So, yeah, just enjoy this one and then eyes on Motorland.
By my calculations, you go up to P2 in the championship, so I have to ask you, what's the goal for Motorland? Is the championship a chance, or are you happy with that P2?
Well, of course, always happier with first and second. To be honest, I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just enjoying the racing side right now, and that's the most important part. So just enjoying every time I'm on track, and if it comes to us, it comes to us.
All right, Alex, time to enjoy the podium, and good luck for the next one.
Thank you very much.
So you see, Jake, time to enjoy, definitely, and he's enjoying it, and we enjoyed it. So I think we can say that we're all winners today in some sense.
Such an important race win for Alex Powell as well. Just a few weeks after being dropped from the Mercedes F1 Junior program, he's now showed everybody what a mistake that was to drop him. All of the other Formula One teams on the grid who are wanting a superstar can look no further than this boy. It's wonderful to see what he's been able to achieve here, and he really has pulled a fantastic victory out of the woodwork. Now we go to Aragon. You're absolutely right, we've got a championship fight on our hands. Still mathematically 4 drivers in the hunt: Alazari, Powell, Lammers, Igozzi. They're going to give us a fantastic showdown for this Spanish Winter Championship with the all-new Dallara 326. The only thing we know for sure, Alex, is that it's going to be as unpredictable as ever.
Exactly, and you know, I'm excited about Motorland with all those candidates, but I have to say, what an incredible race by Keanu Alazari. After the first corner, it seemed like everything was over, and he showed us that you never have to say die in this kind of situation. In a race with 4 safety cars, and in Jarama, nothing makes sense. He should have been behind the P20, and he was P7 fighting for that P6 until the end. This is really with what a title candidate can do when he's really locked in. So fantastic to watch, fantastic to see, and I think it's also a warning for his rivals. You know, this is what I do when I'm at the back. Look forward to what I can do when I'm at the front.
So true. Sadly, we have run out of time. There are other races on the bill here at Jarama. Alex Garcia, a massive thank you to you. We're going to have to wrap things up here in the E3 Spanish Winter Championship, but now Alex Powell has shown us his statement of intent in the championship fight. It's going to be a fantastic showdown 2 weeks from now at Motorland Aragon, when the 4 big guns in this championship, Keanu Alazari, Alex Powell, James Igozzi and René Lammers, go to battle in Aragon in a fortnight's time, as this championship fight is still with plenty of life left in it. From me, Jake Sanson, from Alex Garcia down in pit lane, and from all of us at the Killite, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in a fortnight when E3 and E4 will wrap up the Spanish Winter Championship in fantastic fashion. See you soon.